there, creatives, and welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be playing with a round gel press just for fun and some pastels, and yes, that is actually some Mean Girls eyeshadow I found at Walmart. I loved it because it had all these bright colors and it was only like $6, and for a technique like this, it actually works beautifully on your gel press plate. I do have some expensive pan pastels which are gorgeous, but like I just said, they can get so expensive. So using something like an eyeshadow actually works really, really great. So we're actually going to start by cutting some strips of paper, and not even really cutting, kind of tearing, because we're going to try to make like an abstract landscape and kind of a water thing on our gel press plate. And so I'm just cutting out little, I guess, mountains, I guess is what you would call them. And then also cutting some strips that we're going to use to make our grass and our sky. You might notice the coloring in my video is a little bit different. I was having some webcam problems, so I had to film this on my phone. So the color's a little funky, so sorry about that. But you get the idea. So I'm putting my mountain shapes down and using a Cosmetic wedge to just dab onto my space here. And look how cool that looks. I mean, you get the great ruggedness, you don't get those sharp edges, so it keeps it very natural, very abstract. And I'm just playing around with these different size mountain shapes that I created. And what's great about this too is it's not a hard and fast technique. You don't have to use a certain color. You don't have to use anything. This would be super fun to do in bright colors or in all purples or greens if you want to do grassy hills instead of mountains. I kind of want, especially on this, wanted to use the black so you guys could see it really, really well. And I'm using the circular plate just for fun because I don't use it that often. So I was like, sure, why not? So I want to try to give the illusion that the mountains are kind of fading off into the background. So I did the front ones in black, and now I'm just taking some varying colors of purple and using those to kind of give that illusion that those are kind of pushing in the back. So I'm using a dark, a medium, and a light purple. I think it kind of works. I'm kind of digging it. I like it. I think it's fun, but what's great about this is you can use stuff you already have. It doesn't take a lot of like specific stuff. I just think it's copy paper and eyeshadow. I mean, I know that sounds super weird, but they work really, really well for something like this. And so you can kind of see I've got that on there. And now we're going to go ahead and go in with some blues. And just, again, just using those random pieces of paper that I had to give just the illusion of just depth and shapes. And this is actually, when we were playing with this, is where I kind of got the idea for the second part of this video of could I do almost like a water kind of theme using the same technique but only using blues. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. And so, and again, doing this exact same technique, this time just using varying greens. And this is super great because you are literally using the exact same technique just over and over, just using different versions of that mask that you tore to give different illusions of hills of grass or mountains or clouds. I just think this is super fun, and I love how versatile it is, that you can really do it in any color scheme that you want. This one is kind of in the pastel-y range. I'm not doing any super, super bright colors. The only dark color is really that black. And I was super excited because I thought, oh, this is going to turn out great. And in order to keep those colors so vibrant, we're actually going to use some white acrylic paint and Brayer that. That was my first play with this technique. And I used kind of a flesh tone, but I think it was way too dark. It's not bad, but it's just darker than I really wanted it to be. And I felt like it kind of washed it out, all those bright colors that I worked hard for. And so I'm going to go ahead and go in with just a white this time. Plus, it's easier for you guys to see when I do it with the white. And again, just taking my acrylic and my white acrylic paint and brayering it across my gel plate. And just for funsies, I'm actually doing this in a Delusions journal. And it's on an acrylic plate, which I'll link down below for you guys. And so just giving it a nice little press. and then just kind of peeling it up, which makes it being on this acrylic plate like super handy. And just kind of giving it a nice little extra press. I did this actually as a live. That's where this video is from. So I was doing a little extra on it. But look how great that is. It is gorgeous. You can definitely tell the sky from the ground, from the mountains, and even that recession of the mountains looks really great. And I wanted to give it a little, let's call it a little Bob Ross inspiration. So I'm just taking some white paint and kind of adding it to the tops of my mountains to give them that, just a little more depth, a little bit more oomph. And again, I'm not a super paintery person, so I was like, it's going down one side, it's at the cap. I'm kind of just visualizing, how does Bob Ross do the snow on the top of his mountains? That's exactly what my brain is thinking. I was like, I can do this. I think I can do this. But I love this. I think it turned out great. I did do it in this journal because I was using that circle, and so I wanted to be able to have the entire circle. And I love it. I think it turned out great. And it's a great time to kind of play with that idea. If you've watched some of my other recent videos, you know that my one little word for this year is actually the word wild. So I thought playing around with figuring out unique ways to do landscapes would be a really cool thing. And so I'm also going in with just a little bit of that white to kind of add some clouds up there amongst my blue. And I'm thinking really hard, apparently, about clouds. And I'm just so happy. I think it's super cool. I'm brightening that white just a little bit more. And at the end of this, you'll see I actually did this another time for our quarterly devotion, which I will link down below. That is on our Gel Press our Gel Press website, which is a complete devotional with journaling questions and a step-by-step of how to do this with some different color schemes and a little bit different technique. But you'll see that sample here at the end of the video as well. And so I'm loving how this is turning out, but I wanted to do a little bit more. And so I was trying to figure out, how do I incorporate all of this into it? And so I'm actually going to go in with I believe it's a Pitt Artist pen, and just kind of do a little scribbly border and just do some doodles to kind of differentiate and give it some extra dimension and doodles. And then I'm going to actually go into the mountains and just do where it says into the wild, which is kind of, again, going with my one little word theme. And so I'm just trying to think of a unique way of journaling. So I thought it would be fun with the idea of into the wild to actually have the words kind of crawling over my main mountains. And so that's kind of what I'm doing, just doing some doodling. And I'm just really loving the way this one turned out. So as I finish up those kind of little words, let's think about another way that we can do this. So one thing you do need to know about using pastels is they do stick to your plate. So once you're done, you can actually do multiple pulls from them. But once you're completely done using them, just use a little bit of baby oil to fully remove them. Since I was doing this as a live, I just flipped my plate over. So you can see that's why you can still see the mountains in the background, but they're actually on the reverse side of the plate. And then later I went in and just cleaned them off. So this time we're going to just go in with these strips that I just tore, and we're just going to use all the different kinds of blues that I have. So I've got this set of eyeshadow that's got all these cool blues. It even has some shimmery and glitter in it blues that actually look absolutely gorgeous on this. Once we get done, I kind of felt like it gave me almost like water planet kind of vibes. So you can see, look how great that metallic blue is. And so I pulled it up, and then I could leave it there, but I really want to just continue to add all sorts of different layers and different depths. So I'm just taking, again, different strips and different colors of blue. I'm not really actually thinking about it too much. I'm not planning ahead. I'm just allowing those colors to naturally layer. And because they are that eyeshadow, they're slightly transparent. So they're going to just allow the colors to kind of add their own highlights and shadows. And I'm also making sure that I leave some white space, some open space, so that when I go in with my white acrylic paint here in just a little bit, it's going to make those spots pop. And having that brightness is going to allow my darker blues to have more depth and to have more dimension. So I think this is a super fun technique, and I pulled out my little one right there because I thought just realizing this was when I was like, this could be a planet. So I thought it'd be really cool to use one of the smaller gel press plates from the Petites collection, or the small 4-inch one, which is what that one is, just to almost do like a planet kind of thing, like God created all the planets or something like that. So that is where we are at right now. And I'm going to go ahead and add that white acrylic paint. And with this technique, what's great about it is because you're using that acrylic paint to lift your excuse me, your eyeshadow and pastel particles off of your gel press plate, they aren't going to require any spray adhesive or spray fixative once you put it into your Bible or whatever it happens to be. So it saves you the step, it saves you that expense, and it saves you the mess of trying to do a spray fixative. And so this time I'm just using kind of a white copy paper just to, because I was in the middle of a live and I didn't want to do another one in my art journal. And so I love, love, love the way this turned out. So I could easily take this print when it's done, cut it in half or whatever, and put it in my Dayspring journal or whatever. Look how gorgeous that is. And you can see the shimmer, you can see the glitters. I just think it turned out absolutely fantastic. So I'm super excited to try this process again, maybe with some different colors and maybe some different shapes. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope it inspired you to look at eyeshadow maybe a different way, and I'll see you guys next time on the Creative Life Studios.